Good morning, everyone, and here at Atmosphere. Today we're doing a bit of more of a workshop. So it's to do with your thoracic spine. So we're working on mobility and strength in your thoracic spine, which is something that we all need, and especially at this time. And also, if you're starting to get back into training and you've been in this forward position for a while, you want to be able to open up and strengthen the muscles in the right order and in the right area. So today I'm going to use a towel. So if you've got a towel, use a quite big towel. So if you've got a bath sheet. I've also got a TheraBand and a foam roller, but if you haven't got those, you can just still stick with just using the towel. So that's what the props we'll be using today. So today's class is more about your awareness. So sometimes when we've got our posture isn't in the right position, it may not be any actual imbalances in the body. It might just be that muscle to mind connection. So we'll get started by just going over our standing posture first. So we've got our feet hip distance apart under the hips, tripods on the feet, hands on your hips, knees are soft and still, tuck the bottom under, keeping the shoulders still, arch the back. Do that a couple of times. Stop in the middle. So that's your neutral pelvis. Ribs over the hips, fingertips reaching towards the floor. Light connection with those abdominals. So just think about lifting up that pelvic floor and drawing those lower abdominals in. Now, when we talk about that thoracic, what I want you to do is take a breath in, tap your chest, and imagine this chest is shining up towards the ceiling, okay, without those ribs popping. So it's inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, holding that position. So the ribs are still over the hips, but you feel that bit of a stretch sensation. The shoulders are down and back and opened, back of the neck, long chin in. So this is that position where we've got that thoracic extension. It may not feel normal because we're used to being in this slump position. So this is just having that awareness now and catching yourself throughout the day, just to lifting the chest, keeping the ribs down, opening up the shoulders. Now let's just start breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Keep going for me. When you breathe in, it's not a sniff. So think of a big inhale in and open the back of the throat. As you exhale, keeping the back of the throat open and sigh it out, directing it into the sides and back of the ribs. So that's going to help with opening up the ribs and the thoracic. So a big breath in to expand and a big breath out to close the ribs. So that's going to be your breathing. So 2 more breaths in and out, directing it into the sides and back of the rib cage, and again, and out. Well done, guys. So come to the floor, grab your towel. So what I've got, got my towel, halved it again, and then I'm going to roll it. A nice tight roll, and place it lengthways on your mat, and lie down for me, okay? So it's on just underneath the shoulder blade. So using a rolled up towel, it's not as uncomfortable as the roller. So we want to make sure it isn't too uncomfortable. So it's under the shoulder blades here, tripods on the feet, fingers clasped, back of the head, elbows are lifted. So we've got them in that 30-degree scapular position, back of the neck, long chin in, and we've got those abdominals on, neutral spine. Inhale here and take yourself over on that inhale, lengthening the chest and the back. Chin stays in, elbows out to that peripheral vision. Exhale, coming back up, eyes on the thighs. So just over, slow, and up, slow. Inhale over, exhale up. Keep going for me, keeping that chin in. The crown of the head is reaching to the wall behind you and then rounding over. So we're getting that nice big crease through that back of the ribs there. Elbows are in the peripheral vision and the hands are holding the head. Hold this one there for me and relax down on the floor. Chins in. So if this is still uncomfortable for you and you want to put a small towel under your head as well, you can, depending on how much curving you've got in that upper thoracic area.
So now take your hands out to the side. Lift your arms up, externally rotate them a little bit more. Place them on the ground, reaching the fingertips away, and then let the elbows rest. Chin's in, so we're getting that mobility in the thoracic, which is the upper back, stretching across the chest, back of the neck, long chin, so making sure that chin's not poking up towards the ceiling. And we'll hold it here for a few breaths. So you might want to stay here longer, but just for the point of this class, we'll just stay here for a few breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And again. Bring your hands back up. So I've got my elbows over my shoulders, my hands are over my forehead. So keeping that angle the same, take your elbows out to the side and try and get the elbows and hands to the floor. So now we're stretching, now we're stretching the pec minor a little bit more. So I start in this position, open out, and try and reach my hands back to the floor. Elbows reaching away out of the sockets, so I'm not shortening into the shoulders, they're lengthened. So just getting that mobility happening in the back, lengthening the front of the chest. And breathing, keep breathing for me. 2 more. And release it there. Wrap your arms around, so I'm trying to hug my shoulder blades, okay? Make sure the shoulders are away from the ears, tripods are on the feet, a little bit of that ab connection. And you're just gonna rotate from side to massage that back a little bit. So just feel that little massage, rotating from side to side. Try and keep the lower body still if you can. It's a little bit hard, but do the best you can. And we're just working on that spot in between the shoulder blades and around. So sometimes too, you might need to restack your towel as well if it gets too flat. And release it there. So the next one, we're going to have our hands up towards the ceiling and they're clasped. So they're crossed over like so. Reach them up towards the ceiling. Feet and knees together, shoulders away from the ears. So my knees are dropping over to the right. My left hand is pulling my right arm over to the left. So this opposite shoulder blade's coming off. I'm getting a bit of a stretch through that shoulder. Then come back to the center. Then the other way, knees to one, arms to the other side. I'm using that hand to pull this left arm across, shoulders away from the ears, and then back. So the lower body's going one way and the upper body's going the other way. And I'm using this hand to pull the arm a little bit more to get the stretch across the back of the shoulders. So remember, it's more of awareness, waking all these little muscles up. So when we use the big muscles, you'll be able to be more efficient. Okay. And release it there. Take your arms back, relax the legs. You can separate them again. Arms are overhead. Just have a big stretch and a couple of big breaths in and out. So you want to feel like your neck is relaxed, the back's opened up, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keep going for me. Okay. Bring your hands back on top of the head. Inhale here. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, over. So remember, it's that crown of the head reaching. So as you exhale back, close the ribs. So this is going to be a weight. The head goes over, so that's the weight as well as we exhale. So the ribs are closing. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, ribs close. Crown of the head reaches back. Inhale, come back up. Let's do 3 more. Exhale, over. Inhale, up. Over. Up. Last one here. So if we want to add a little bit more to that now, if you've got a foam roller, we can use the foam roller. So we'll just quickly
pry it with that. So we don't want it to be too uncomfortable. Hopefully we've mobilised it because we're using the towel. So it comes under the shoulder blades again, hands on top, elbows wide. So we're just going to do 5 with the different breathing each time. So the first one is inhale over, back as far as you can, keeping that pelvis neutral, and exhale up. 4 more. Inhale over, exhale up. 3, you can do them a little bit slower if you've got more time. And up. Last one here. And exhale up. So we're changing the breathing. So exhale over, close the ribs. Inhale, exhale. Open up. Inhale back up. And again, exhale. Close the ribs. And up. 3 more. Close the ribs on the exhale. Shoulders away from the ears. Last 2. Last 1. Hold it over there for me. Have a little bit of a stretch. Depending on your mobility, you can have your arms out and head all the way down. I haven't got that mobility. I'm going to leave my hands here. So my chin's still in. I'm not letting the chin poke up. Elbows out. Bit more of a stretch. And coming back up. So let's just do a quick set now without the roller. So we should feel like the back is opened up now. So lie down on your mat for me. Hands on top, elbows wide, T-zone, neutral spine. Inhale here, exhale, curl up, rounding that upper back, ribs towards the hips. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Keep going for me. So if we've got better mobility through that thoracic, we'll be able to curl up higher and the ribs coming towards the hips. So we're trying to get that stiffness out of that spine. Let's just do 2 more. 1 and 2. And just reach the arms out and just have a little bit of a stretch there for me. So just lie there for me, have a few breaths. Just gonna, where's my drink? I didn't bring it over. A few breaths. And we'll get ready for the next exercise, which is where you're going to use the towel. Come up for me, grab your towel. So with the towel, we want it quite long. So I might even do it lengthways and roll it like so. So I'm going to sit. If you've got a foam roller, sit on the foam roller. If you haven't, you can do it seated or sit on something else. And I might sit it this way so you can see what I'm doing. So sit up on the roller. And when you sit, you want to make sure that you're sitting back on those sit bones and trying to keep neutral pelvis. And we don't want the roller to move. So we want that neutral pelvis. Grab your towel around your back, upper back, and hold it here for me. So we're holding it quite firmly. So now just think about that shining light on the chest. So extend the upper back. Okay, so we're not letting that roller move. We're keeping abs on and a co-contraction in the back as well. Round forward, just the upper back. Pulling on this towel. Inhale, reach up and extend the chest without that lower back changing. Exhale, round forward from the upper back. Shoulders down and back. I'm pulling on this towel. Inhale, up. And extend. So we don't want to lose that lumbar connection. So we don't want to tuck, we don't want to arch, we want to stay yaw neutral. Rounding forward from the upper back, using the upper rectus muscles as well. And up. So we're teaching the upper back to round without no changing in the lower body. So if this thoracic isn't working, your lower back and your neck has to do too much. And then you start to get neck and shoulder issues as well, okay? All right. So let's just do 2 more, keeping that foam roller still. Last one here. And let's really think about extending the chest up. Hold that position. Hold. Rotate away. So my left hand is reaching towards the opposite side to give some traction. Then back to center, keeping that upper thoracic extension. And over to the other side. Just keep breathing. I'm pulling on this part of the towel. And back. Keep going for me. Reaching the chest. Making sure that foam roller doesn't roll. So we want to keep it still. And it's about lifting the chest, working that thoracic, strengthening it in rotation. Let's do 2 more each side. Last one here, reaching it up and release it there. So hopefully we've got that rotation happening and some work happening in the arm back. So I'm going to grab my TheraBand. So if you haven't got a TheraBand, then you can just keep going with the towel. So we're just going to add a little bit of strength element to it. So pop it around the back, a flat TheraBand. Now sit bones, sitting up on the sit bones, we've got that co-contraction, the abdominals and back. You want it nice and flat. Hold it quite firmly. Elbows in, so they stay in, so it's a bit of a bicep curl happening here. So now reaching the hands forward and up and extending the chest. So that shining light shining up. Then bring the elbows back in and rounding through the upper back, keeping that foam roller still. Inhale, reaching the hands up, extending that back, the upper back. Gliding the elbows back in and rounding through the upper back. Shoulders down and back. So I was going like that, bring them back down. Bringing the elbows up. Arms are straight, elbows up towards the ceiling. Extending that, shining that light, extending that chest. And coming back into that flexion. And again, reaching up and extending. And gliding back in and flexing the upper spine. Last one here, hold it up here for me. Rotate to the right, so my left hand is reaching towards the right, keeping the hips still, and center. Rotate to the left, the right arm is reaching out further and back to the center. Just go to the rotation you feel comfortable. Shoulder blades are down and back, and we're scooping the armpit under as we're reaching the hand forward. 1 more each side. And reach, extending the chest, come back to the center and just release and just grab your knees and just roll forward for a little bit of a stretch there. We're going to do a little bit of stretching. So this, like I said, this is about mobilizing the thoracic, stretching the thoracic and the chest, and strengthening. So we're just going to go back to a little bit of stretching. So if you've got a foam roller, grab it. If you have it, you can use like a broomstick, not too wide a broomstick. Sitting up nice and tall on those sit bones, grab your foam roller. So if you do have any disc issues, so lateral rotation and flexion isn't the best for you. So you might just want to reduce the range and don't come with me, or just do other exercises that you know, maybe just little rotation exercises that aren't going to put that pressure on the spine. So first, come with me, arms out, shoulders down and back. Rotate. I'm going to rotate my left hand to the floor and my right arm's up the top. So I've got this from horizontal to vertical, lateral rotation, reaching that top arm away. Come back to the center and the other way, right hand underneath, left hand on top. Come back up to neutral, sit up tall, and then down and reach. And back up, and down and reach. So we're going to add on a little bit here again. So come with me, hold,
Reach the foam roller away, pushing the opposite hip away. So we're getting that stretch. Bring it back, center, and rotate. So pressing the foam roller away, opposite hip is away, getting a nice stretch, and back up. Let's do one more each side. Reach, center, and reach, and center. Next one is a little bit tricky, so you can stick with that one or come with me. So we're doing like a big twist and rotation. So if you want to check first, watch before you decide. So we go up and over and reach, keeping the opposite hip down, placing that foam roller here. Come back up to the center and then the other way. So remember, this may not suit everybody, so stick to the previous exercise or just do seated rotations. So we're just rotating, chin in, getting that nice stretch down the side of the body, keeping that opposite hip pressing away. And one more each side. And over. And down. Well done, guys. Next for the exercise, we'll be doing the foam roller, actually the towel, roll towel under your ribs because the foam roller is a little bit too much. So grab your towel again. I'm just going to roll it up, place it on the mat, and lie down, and you want it under your ribs, okay? So we do allow for bigger chests, muscles. So we want it on the ribs, like so. And again, you do want it quite, mine's flattened out a little bit, you do want it quite a plump towel. First thing we're going to do is have the arms overhead and just make sure it's on the ribs. Reach the arms away. So have your head down. I'm going to keep my head up so you can hear me. Reach your arms away and the head's down. Walk the hands back. Legs can be quite wide. So again, if you've got a bit of a belly or tight hip flexors or muscly thighs, bigger thighs, having them wide is going to give you a little bit more space. I want you to relax the glutes and the legs and T-zones on, and the lower abs are drawing the pubic bone towards the mat. So we're not squeezing the bottom so much, we're getting the activation from the front of the body. So from here, the head's down, pelvis stays still, and just lift that upper back up, pushing the ribs into the towel. So it's not a great big extension, we just want to use the thoracic here. So shoulders are down and back, pivoting from that point opposite to the towel and the thoracic, coming up, chin in, and coming down. So if we do an inhale, it changes it a little bit. Then try an exhale, closing the ribs. That adds resistance. So you'll get a little bit of more strength workout as you exhale, close the ribs as you lift that upper back up. So now we're doing a little bit of strength work. We have the towel here as well. And lower down for me. So resting your head down, relax. Okay, so let's just tuck the tailbone through round the lower back and release. So we're just doing some pelvic tucks here, keeping the upper body still. So just tuck the pelvis under, upper body stays still, and release. And again. So now we're going to add the two. So what I want is head down, tuck the bottom under, use the lower abs, pelvis is tilted, then back to neutral, then lift into that swan prep. Lower back down, head's relaxed, tuck under, rounding the lower spine, back to neutral, and up. So we're learning to disassociate bottom of the spine to the top of the spine. So tuck, neutral, and lift. Let's do 2 more. Lower down, tuck, neutral, lift. Last one here, tuck, neutral, lift. Lower down for me, reach your arms out long, hold it there for me. Just breathing into the ribs, feeling them expand. 2 more breaths. And release it there. So now if you've got a foam roller, you can grab your foam roller again. And if that feels too much on the ribs, you can even wrap a towel around it so it's not so much tension on the ribs. So now we're coming the same position on the foam roller onto those ribs. Legs are out long and separated. And you just got to find that right spot so you can just drape the head and chest over. So now come up onto your knees. The head's draping, shoulders are relaxed. Tuck the tailbone under, so rounding the lower back, keeping that position, and then drop the hips towards the floor and lift back up. So the head and shoulders are relaxed, there's no movement. We've got a pelvic tilt, a little bit of rounding through that lumbar, and we're just lowering the pelvis to the floor and lifting it back up. So we're just doing a little bit of mobilizing of the lower back. Let's do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release it there. Come off the roller for me. And we'll just pop that to the side. So let's go into some thread the needle, sorry, it's called thread the needle. So we're back into a little bit of stretching. So for this one, come up into a 4-point position, knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, just rounding through that spine. So my left hand, right hand's in front a little bit, and the elbow will bend as the left hand threads that needle. Okay, so try and just for now keep the hips square and reach the arm away and come down. To get a little bit more of a stretch here, think about reaching the hips and the glutes away from that arm. So we're getting a little bit more of a stretch there. So my hips and glutes are going towards the back wall behind me. And just try and reach that arm a little bit further. And again, if this doesn't feel good for you, do a different stretch. If you can, reach this arm up, shoulder away from the ear, and reach the arm back and behind, and the hips are white towards that wall, and nice big breaths in and out. 3, 2, 1, shoulders away from the ears. Place that hand back down and just come back into a rest position. And let's all do it on the other side. So on that 4-point position, front arms in front a little bit, bend the elbow, round the spine, reach the arm through, coming down, keeping those hips square. Just to where that's comfortable. My head's resting on the floor, shoulders away from the ears, and my hips are reaching back behind towards the back wall. Reaching the arm forward and breathe. Stretching into that thoracic, getting more mobility. And if you can, this arm comes up, back and down, and breathe. Again, this is quite a bit of a difficult stretch. So if you've got any disc injuries, please don't do this one. And breathe. Hips trying to reach away. Bring that hand down, coming up, and just come into that rest position for me. And just hold it there for a few breaths, guys. So now we're out. While you're doing that, I'm just going to grab my foam roller. So I'll give you a few seconds to breathe it out there. And we're going to back into a little bit of a strength. Sit down for me if you've got a foam roller, grab it. And
see how my arms are wrapped around the foam roller and my elbows are out to the side, so they're reaching away. Knees are bent. Tuck the tail under using those lower abs, so I'm staying in a pelvic tilt. So now press the foam roller into the chest and reach that chest up, keeping that little tuck of the pelvis. So we're back into strengthening this thoracic, chin in, rounding through that upper back, then unrounding, extending through that thoracic, holding that position, elbows reaching out to the side, and rounding down. And again, reach it up, shoulders down and back, feel that back working. You want to feel the muscles along the spine working. Not neural sensation, but those muscles are working, guys. Rounding down, especially if you've been in this position. We're allowing you to go into this position because you're using your muscles and you're coming up into this position because you're mindfully activating the abs still and the back extensors. And down, last one here, and up, shoulders down and back. Reaching that chest up, holding it there. Let's hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Let's do another bit of a stretch while we're here. I'm on my knees. My roller is on a diagonal, but I'm staying facing forward. So I've got the diagonal happening here. Left hand is around my waist. I'm holding onto the waist. Right hand is on the front of that roller. So take an inhale here, exhale, roll it out and reaching that arm, getting a stretch down the side, and we're crunching through the opposite side. And then roll back up and reach away. Just breathing normally. Don't hold the breath. Doesn't matter when you're breathing or out, just as long as you're breathing. Inhale out. And in. 2 more, rounding through that spine. Last one here. Hold it. And in. Let's do the other side. So I'm just going to change the angle. So now this hand, my right hand, this is the shorter side, is behind the waist. This hand is here. Knees and hips are square. Reach that arm away. And roll back in. And again, reach. And roll. Feel that length down the side of the waist there. Reach. Up. Working on that stretching again, bit of mobility. Last one here, let's hold it out there, really stretch it out, breathing into those ribs. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, guys. So I want to go back to a little bit of abs before we go on to some more strength, just to get that feeling of the abs working when we're in our 4-point position. So I want you to come onto your backs first. So this is just to get that awareness of the abdominals working when we're in this position, and then when we're in, I want you to take it with you when we go into 4-point. So lie down for me, tripods on the feet, knees are soft. Find your neutral spine. Lift the pelvic floor tummy tight. So now lift your right leg up. So we're activating these obliques as we breathe out. So the T-zone's on, the lower abs on to pull the pubic bone through, and those obliques are working to keep the back nice and in its neutral position. So, and again, keeping the tummy tight, exhale, keeping those obliques on, lift the other leg up. No, let's start that again, sorry, my bad. Lift this leg up first, pop your hand onto the knee, press the knee into the hand and the hand into the knee. So feel the T-zone, the lower abs and those obliques working on that side. So we've got that abdominal connection, but our spine's staying in neutral or a little bit imprinted.
Still think of the lower back muscles pressing up to meet the abdominals. Keeping that tip there, keeping those abs on, don't arch the back, lift the other leg up into tabletop, pressing the hands into the knee, the knees into the hands, okay? Lower back pressing into the floor, knees stay over the hips, don't let those knees come in. So while we're in this position, feel the lower abdominals holding the pubic bone, the ribs towards the hips holding the abdominals. So this is the same connection when we go into our 4-point position. So it's important to do this so we can get into the upper thoracic. Lower the legs one at a time. Come on to your 4-point position now. So hands under the hips, knees under the shoulders. So let's just do a little cat stretch. So when we do this stretch, sometimes we miss the thoracic. So now come to your neutral position in that tabletop position. So now activate the pelvic floor and the T-zone. Lower abs pulling the pubic bone through, but you're staying in neutral. Ribs are drawing towards the hips without flexing the spine. So we've got that abdominal connection here. The hands pressing into the floor, the chest lifting out, lifting up and lifting out of the shoulders. Now in this position, I want you to think of this shining light on the chest to reach it forward. So we're really getting that upper thoracic holding us in this position. Hold it there for me, keeping that chest shining. Tuck the pubic bone under, rounding through the lower back. So we're just rounding the lower back, then back to neutral, shining that light. Go into your cat stretch. Come back to that neutral position, shine your light. Use those abdominals to tuck the pubic bone through, rounding through the lower back as you're shining your light. Back to neutral, shine the light. Cat stretch. Coming back into neutral, shine the light. Tuck the tail from the lower abs, using those lower abs. Back to neutral, shine the light, and round. Last one here. Neutral, shine the light. Shoulders down and back. Round the lumbar spine. Back to neutral, shining that light. Cat stretch. Back to neutral. And reach down for a stretch, guys. So just have a nice little relaxed stretch there. So we're just teaching how we can move that thoracic and then keeping it still while we move the lumbar. So we're just working it up. Come down for me. Let's just go into some swan prep without any tools. So hands by your side. Hopefully everything feels opened up. Legs are long, tummy's lifted, pubic bone to mat. Shoulders down and back. Inhale here, exhale, lift up, close the ribs and lift, shine the light. Shining the light, chin in. Inhale down. Exhale, shoulders glide down and back, elbows back towards the waist, shining the light, chin in and down. Keeping those legs a little bit wider if you need to, relaxing the glutes, tummy on. Exhale up, shine the light and down. Last one here, lift and down. Just bring your hands underneath your forehead, resting down. Just relaxing the whole body. Now just using those lower abdominals, so T-zone, using the lower abdominals to draw the pubic bone towards the mat, the upper body stays relaxed and still, and release. So feel the lower abs, T-zone lifting, lower abdominals pulling the pubic bone through without the bottom pushing it into the mat, and release. So using the muscles to activate the front of the body and release. It's just muscle awareness and release, and just relax it there for me. And just you can reach your arms out or however you want. Relax the whole body. Feel the weight of the floor pushing up against you and let the body relax. So the last exercise, we're going to do a little bit more of a strength element to it. So if you've got a TheraBand, grab a TheraBand. If you haven't, you can actually use weights or even a kettlebell. So for this one, I'm going to use gravity and resistance to strengthen the thoracic spine. So just bring your knees over the TheraBand. Grab it quite low because you do need some resistance. So we're trying to stay in neutral spine and hinge from the hip. So we're hinging from the hip. Bring the hands up into that bicep position. So again, we do need strength here. Hinge forward, back of the neck, long chin in, and I just want you to hold that position for me. If your knees don't like this, you can do it in a chair, okay? So what I want you to think about is that light shining still, back of the neck, long chin in. So what we're using is gravity to stop us from rounding forward and resistance. So when we're standing up, this is how we want to feel, that you can feel the upper back working. It's supposed to be working. Okay, so keep that there, feel it working, see how long you can hold it. Use a heavier band, you can even use like a kettlebell and hold it. So now, keeping the pelvis still, elbows are in, just rounding through that upper back, not the lower back. We're keeping that co-contraction of the back and the abdominals, then extend up through the thoracic. Keeping the elbows in, holding firmly, rounding down, just the upper back, extending up, shining that light. So just inhale over, exhale up. So we're using resistance. We don't want to round and drop. We're hinging, then rounding the upper back, then using the band as resistance as the upper back extends. Let's do 2 more. Keeping that pelvis still. Last one here. And release it there. Well done, guys. Just take the band out, come into a seated position. Let's just do a little bit of free movement into the neck to finish. So just sitting up nice and tall. And just nodding the head. I don't want you to think too much. I just want free movement through the neck. Sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders are gently down and back. Then rotate, keeping the shoulders still, keeping the nose in line with the sternum, just rotating. Now we want to make sure you're not dropping the chin as you rotate. We want to keep it parallel. We have a tendency to go like this, but we want to keep it parallel. Okay, come to the center, drop it, let it hang, lift up. Feel the stretch through the front of the neck there. And come to center, and you guys are done. So thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Just let us know, and hopefully that'll work on that thoracic area. See you next time. Bye.
Wonderful. Good job.